On today's episode of Scientific Healing, you're going to hear.
Went from doctor to doctor for years. And that's what we're told to do, right? Go and seek out the medical advice of an expert in their field, whatever it is. And I had problems with staying awake, and that turned out to be chronic fatigue. It took 10 years for them to diagnose that. So turned into perimenopause at the age of 28. And before that, I was told, you're infertile, Eva, and the stress in your life is causing that. It's nothing else. Everything else shows normal. And I just got exasperated with the same old excuses, and here's a prescription. And because I was up at night, blessed with insomnia, at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, searching out my symptoms on Google, I put everything in there. I had chronic fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, depression, IBS, itchy skin, heart palpitations, you name it, I had it. I was like, holy cow. And I stumbled across this article, and it really started to describe what I was experiencing. It was talking about adrenal fatigue and minerals, and if you just give your body what it needs, then it's going to go to work and healing itself. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopoulos. I know the power of vibrational healing by combining physics and ancient healing arts to develop my own system that has helped create thousands of medical miracles. When you are ready to feel energized at the end of the day after working with your clients all day long, but growing your practice, go to scientifichealer.com/energize me or connect with me at scientifichealer.com/appointment. Today, you're going to hear from Eva Vennari, who is the founder and CEO of the Elevate Institute. Eva and I met about 5 years ago, way before even I had this podcast. And when I heard her story again, I wanted to learn more of what she does now. From then to today, she's transformed her business into a cutting-edge health coaching firm specializing in empowering individuals to take charge of their body and their health. She is the creator of Reveal, all with capital letters, a hair analysis technique that lets you understand what exactly your body needs to heal and rejuvenate. The Evolve Academy is a school of purposeful living and elevate a high-end retreat experience to create lasting shifts. She is on a mission to dismantle the status quo of the sickness industry. I'm with you, Eva. After having spent most of her adult life suffering from all kinds of conditions and fighting for her sanity, she decided to take matters into her own hands. That's how so many of us get started, kicking and screaming. That's when everything shifted and her body went from being the enemy to being her best and most devoted ally and partner. Eva now teaches worldwide how sensitive people can take charge of their well-being and thrive in their lives. Welcome to the show, Eva. I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy that we were able to reconnect, and I forgot all the wonderful things that you were doing as well. So this is exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So I, like you, I had also my big health struggles, and like you, medical science had no real answers except for you need to take this medication and we need to operate out some of your organs.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And that's when you know that you're aligned with your purpose is when you hear not just no, but hell no. Right? So,
yes.
So Eva, can you share with us the journey that brought you to starting your program?
Exasperation. It was just that simple. I went from doctor to doctor for years, and that's what we're told to do, right? Go and seek out the medical advice of an expert in their field, whatever it is. And I had problems with staying awake, and that turned out to be chronic fatigue. It took 10 years for them to diagnose that. So turned into perimenopause at the age of 28. And before that, I was told, you're infertile, Eva, and the stress in your life is causing that. It's nothing else. Everything else shows normal. And I just got exasperated with the same old excuses, and here's a prescription. And because I was up at night, blessed with insomnia, at 3 o'clock in the morning one night, searching out my symptoms on Google, I put everything in there. I had chronic fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, depression, IBS, itchy skin, heart palpitations, you name it, I had it. I was like, holy cow. And I stumbled across this article, and it really started to describe what I was experiencing. And it was talking about adrenal fatigue and minerals. And if you just give your body what it needs, then it's going to go to work and healing itself. And I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense. And so I pursued this, what's called nutritional balancing. And that's made all the difference for me so far.
Awesome. So since we met some years ago, your programs have really, really evolved. Mm-hmm. So tell me about what's transitioned. Now you have programs for people to experience, like weekend retreats and things like that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, it started out with just a simple hair analysis test and being able to share with people, here's how to make sense of your symptoms. And that's still the basis. That's still the core, the foundation of everything that I teach. And part of what I discovered was I had a sense in me I had a drive to constantly search for what is the next thing that I need to make sure that I'm doing to change, to go from where I am into the more ideal of, there's some lifestyle changes to be aware of, like don't go to bed with your cell phone next to you at night and using that as your alarm clock. It disturbs your sleep. Little things. But collectively, they make a big change in how well you are able to heal. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, okay, if I did this for myself, I have to realize that not everybody is either have the time to do it for themselves, to learn what the next step is along the way of healing, or they just don't necessarily have a desire or know that that's the next step that they need to take, that it's even available, like we don't know what we don't know type thing. And so the evolve is all about, I mean, if we look it up in the dictionary, it's making small changes for a large impact. And that's really what the Evolve Academy is. It's what are the little changes that I can make, daily, weekly, monthly, along the course of my healing in order to make lasting changes. And then the retreats gives you that in-person, experiential, oh yeah, I remember how to do that. So it's all about learning how to take care of ourselves. That's one step after another.
Right. And I love that, because so many people try to change everything at once, and it's just too overwhelming. People look at this mountain of things to do, and like you, I always say, just take one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Just drink more water. Yeah. Just let's this week just focus on drinking more water.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the other thing is the amount of stress that the body goes under for any change. Even if it's a good change, like getting married, that's a good change. But it takes a couple of weeks for the body to adjust to that. So any change we make in a forward direction is going to take a couple of weeks for our body to overcome that. And it's about patience between, hey, I just made that change in my head. It should automatically make a change in our bodies. And there's a patience conversation that needs to happen and say, okay, we made these changes. Let's allow for the body to catch up. It's made of mostly water, so things move slower in water. That's all.
I love that. I tell people it takes 90 days for the new energy pathways that they're forming, like whatever it is, whatever new habits they're forming, it takes 90 days. And you can get used to something in 2 to 3 weeks, but it takes about 90 days for it to just like solidify as a habit. Like for me, for example, I started running at the age of 14, and I still do an hour of exercise every morning. This morning was only half an hour because I realized I was didn't have a lot of stuff done for today. I had a lot of deadlines, like your interview, for example. But normally if I don't get enough exercise, it's like my body craves it. Like I can't go without it. And that's the way everybody should be. Like you can't go without a certain level of nutrition in your body. You shouldn't be able to go without enough sleep or enough water, or your body craves it. When you get into those habits, like if you get into all the bad habits, then you're going, oh, what's the use? But then when you start developing those good habits, that 90 days, and I think that they show that clinically in the psychology studies and things. Because the pop psychology say, 3 weeks to develop a new habit. No.
And you make an excellent point about healing in general. A lot of people, they get trapped into the fad of the moment, and they think that is leading edge. It's like, oh, Eva, I'm trying the new diet, the new detox diet. Whether that's the master cleanse. Well, I know that's been out for a while. It's like that only lasts a short time, and it's not giving the body enough time to actually dig into the deeper layers and heal. And that's why a person who wants to take on the process of nutritional balancing, it can take them 2 to 3 years to correct imbalances using this process, because it's slow, it's gentle, it takes time to build those new habits. It just makes sense that along the way, you're going to want to make those changes.
And then the body is permanently detoxed.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you follow it, you follow your plan, and you're permanently detoxed, right?
Permanently detoxed of anything that you had. So the imbalances and even toxins that were built up in your mother are passed to you in the womb. So we're not born perfect the way that we think that we should be. And then we spend our whole lives growing up and into adulthood overcoming those imbalances. And that's I get chills when I think about it. The really cool thing is when we tap into how the body works all on its own, or give it the minerals that it wants, it automatically detoxes those things that it's no longer needing in layers of old metabolism, and building you a whole new foundation. And the only way to do that is slowly. And once it's done, it's gone forever. And then you're just dealing with the ongoing, whatever you're exposed to from day to day, which is a whole different story. So.
Well, those, I tell all of my clients and students to do these daily little energy detoxes, right? So every morning get up and do, the minimum is to straighten spine out and take some nice deep breaths, because it brings you in the moment, gets you re-centered, and it oxygenates you and starts your day. And then I do a whole bunch of other little things, which I've already done this morning. But those little things. And one of my, I have this third certification program. We're just entering the 3rd month. And one of the students who has a healing practice and has taken many other healing courses, and she said, Anastasia, you're the first person that has told me to take care of myself. Right? So can you imagine all of those other healing courses, all those other things? Like, you also, you start with yourself, because you can't be of service to anybody else if you're broken.
That's right.
Right? And
that's one of my core mottos. I say, love yourself so that you can love others.
Yes, exactly. And accept all your faults, whatever they are.
I even talk about love your future self, by taking care of the moment, like setting reminders for yourself to move your car so that you don't get a ticket in the morning. It's the little things. That's loving yourself too. And it's maintenance. It's every day. It's drinking water. It's making sure you eat 3 meals a day. It's making sure you take your supplements and checking your posture, and breathing deeply, and doing meditations, and whatever else it is that you want to include. But it's all self-care. It's all self-love.
Yeah. And, that's another point, is also taking good care of your finances, for example, paying your bills before they're due, so you don't accrue late fees and interest charges and, all of those things. I've met people who don't pay their mortgage for 2 or 3 months, and then they've accumulated all of these late fees. And I'm going you're paying double.
No, you're paying double, and you're putting stress on yourself. Yeah.
Yes. And it's really stressful. So who is it that seeks you out? Who looks for you?
I found most often by people who were just like me and in my shoes, up at 3 o'clock in the morning and struggling to find help with their chronic conditions, and I rattled off a few that I had. And most of them are professionals who are overwhelmed with their work, and they're always looking for a way to increase their energy somehow. And, they want to look and feel younger. That's a big one. But every once in a while I get somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm really into detox, and they're doing the fad version of it, going from one fad to the next. And I said, wouldn't you like to stop guessing to see if that's working for you, and stop trying to poke in the dark and see if you want to make sure that what you're doing is working. And those individuals who are of the mindset to make that change and want to take the initiative for their health, that really makes a difference. If they want to take the initiative for their health, they want to take ownership of it, that person is ready. And that's when they usually find me.
Awesome. So what's a typical result? A typical symptom is lack of energy, not being able to sleep, all those things that, tired adrenals, things like that. So what's a typical result?
And everybody, because we develop our illnesses in different orders and in different layers of our metabolism over the course of time, that kind of makes it impossible to predict what a person is going to experience first. Like me, I could tell you what happens in a case-by-case scenario. Like I had a client who was a male, 30 pounds underweight for his height, and was having difficulties with staying regular, shall we say, and was the underweight part of it, malnourished, had anxiety, had depression, was paranoid, had difficulty with getting out of trauma, would constantly repeat himself, all these things. So it's not just the physical aspects. We can get into the emotional aspects too, because they're all related, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not common for everyone to feel to the point where they're feeling really great immediately. For him, things started to change within a week. He noticed that, he was putting on weight almost immediately. It's like, oh, the nutrients are sticking as opposed to just going through me. It took another 3 months before he got up to another 15 pounds. His depression started to kind of release from his body. And we had, sorry, my lights are going off. And we had moments where the anxiety would come and go. So here's what happens most frequently is you have a period of time that's small where you feel the effects of more energy, and you feel that maybe for a day. And then you go, if you're tired all the time, right? A day is gold. Now you have a day of energy. What am I going to do with it, right? And maybe between then and the next time, then you have another spout of energy. It's a week or two. And then you have, maybe it's 2 days of energy that is much higher than it was. And this is kind of what happened to me, and this is what I hear reports of. And then those periods of time between having more energy get closer together, and the energy part, like having the energy, becomes a longer period of time until one day having more energy is just your normal state. And that happens, that same result can happen whether you're experiencing, oh my gosh, it could be anxiety attacks, panic attacks, right? It could be bouts of depression. I noticed that, oh goodness, that has a lot to do with belief systems. So there comes to a point when a person might have a trauma that where now they have enough energy to think about what's going on and process. And that's when I reached out to my partners and okay, this person needs an energetic clearing or needs help with their belief systems. Maybe it's talk therapy, maybe it's NLP, maybe it's a number of things it could be. And so, yeah, that's it. There is no one typical other than it tends to be slow progressing and permanent change over a course of time.
So you've described how I got well too. Yeah, you described exactly that I was like in a deep fatigue where I would wake up and drag myself out of bed, and then by noon my brain was finally engaged, and then by 3:00 my head was on the desk asleep, right? So when I would have a full day, like it was really rare when I'd have a full day where I'd wake up in the morning the way I used to. And I was 40 when this happened, when I would wake up like I used to. And then it would be like long distance because I would wake up and I go, oh, I'm back. Right. And then you're really hopeful that it would last the next day or back to the old thing. And then gradually, as I got better, the more and more days of having mental energy and physical energy got strung together, where now it's every day, all the time, from morning till night, right?
Yeah. That's perfect. And we strive for that, some sort of peak. We want that throughout the day, but the body does have it. It's, we want to be able to rest throughout the day as we need to, that 90-minute cycle, to make sure that we're giving ourselves rest between the things that we do. And it makes such a big difference between the usage of our energy and whether or not we have enough to be with our loved one at the end of the night, when we're done with work. We give our first and best energy to work, and then we get home and we're like not there for our friends and family. And it would be great to have the energy that lasts throughout. So that's important, I think.
Yeah, I paced myself in the beginning when I first started healing, which was about 5 years ago. I would have clients from morning till night, and I'd still have energy at night because I did all the energy hygiene in between. Like I'd, hang up the phone, clean myself up, spray, drink water, whatever, and then go to the next. So by the end of the evening, I was still good. I could even go out and do networking.
And that's a great example of what self-care can do. That's a great story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love we're really on the same page with this. You're just using a little different. And, I had that hair analysis done. And what that tells you, people, is what's in your body. What the hair that's closest to your scalp tells you exactly what nutrients you're missing and what you have and what toxins you have, the whole shebang.
Yeah. It's a 22 different level mineral and toxic metal screening. And what's the important thing is to look at the relationship of the minerals, and that tells the story about your adrenals and your thyroid and how well you're digesting and what's going on with your sugar. Are you able to process that? And even your ability to push out toxins, that takes energy. And all of that can be seen, all the little nuances from test.
It's really, really fascinating. So after the break, let's dive deeper into your process and learn how listeners can benefit from it. Maybe give them a tip or two.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. I want to remind all of our listeners you're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, and today our special guest is Eva Vennari, founder and CEO of Elevate for Your Life and Health. When we return after the break, we'll dive deeper into her process and show how you can transcend what ails you. You're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. We'll return right after a short break. You can actually do simple physical manipulations on yourself to change your mental, emotional state, release blocks, and even release things like pain in your body. And of course, the backup to all of these techniques, the backup is to work out also the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, and then relieve the physical. I have a process that does that. We go through one step at a time and clean up whatever condition that you have, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical, whatever condition that you have, especially if it manifested in the physical, was usually years in the making. You didn't get it overnight, years in the making. One of the ways that I work is I find out when something got manifested in your body, like go back to that year and then rewrite the story, uncreate the story, redo the story. So it's as if it never happened. It's as if you imagine your life as a tree and here you are at birth, and each decision that you make will create a different branch, right? So you have all these branches of possibilities and you're ending up somewhere along the branch. And by doing energy work, it's as if you did not make that decision and instead you made a different decision and you end up on another branch. So that's the way I view energy healing with regards to whatever your life is now. And the great thing is that we are infinite beings of light, powerful beings of light, and we can change our history and we can rewrite things and we can create whatever life we want. And I'm ready to have a conversation with you if that's what you'd like to have in your life. Either learn it for yourself or to have me help you with it. So I have my contact information is scientifichealer.com/contact or scientifichealer.com/appointment. So you can either write me or have a conversation with me, and I always answer whatever queries come through. And I do it personally because I'm very interested in hearing what you would like to hear. Welcome back. You're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. If you are a healer or coach, you can discover more about scientific healing and the deceptively simple processes by going to scientifichealer.com. And by going to scientifichealer.com/action and downloading the action guide, you can discover your biggest challenge to success. Before the break, we were talking to Eva Vennari about getting well from the incurable. Welcome back, Eva. Say that again.
Okay.
Welcome back, Eva. I'm so excited to be talking about your process further.
I'm happy to be here. I love this conversation. These are so much fun.
I know. Yeah, joy is the highest expression of, human emotion, and getting into joy is really important. And a lot of people ask me, healing is a serious business. And I go, yeah, it is serious, but there's no reason why it can't be fun.
Fun. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we've already
No, that's great.
Yeah, we've already talked about a really difficult, with some of your really difficult and challenging cases. Can you like name a specific case, the before and after, to show what's really possible? Like, some people are told, we can't help you, go away, just suffer with it the rest of your life. So name a really specific, a specific case. Like a lot of people with IBS, for example, are told there's no hope.
Yeah, well, that was one of the ailments that I was diagnosed with. I think I'm probably the best billboard for this process because of what I went through. And, the chronic fatigue was just the beginning, and I call it an avalanche of effects. And really, I had fibromyalgia. There's supposed to be no cure for that too. Fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, there's no cure. IBS, same thing. I had allergies to gluten. I can now have beer and pizza if I so choose, and I'm not going to fall over and pass out. I remember a time when if I had a glass of wine, it was a 4-day recovery. Like, that's crazy. Now, if I were to have a glass of wine when I'm out, it's not a big deal. And okay, so I'll give you another one. I had someone who was chronically riddled with, what is it when your knuckles start to bulge out? It's a type of arthritis where...
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis.
That's it. And in addition to the supplements, over the course of about 6 months, I had her using an earthing pad. Are you familiar with those? Mm-hmm. It's like a grounding mat, right? And I had her, I said, just 20 minutes a day, put your feet on this. And she had chronic pain. She was in medication, and she was taking, not just for the arthritis, but for the pain as well. So she was doing that. And about, 6 months into this 20 minutes a day routine, she forgot why she was doing it. And we were on the phone. She says, Eva, why am I putting my feet on this pad? She was kind of irritated about it. And I said, well, so how's your arthritis doing? And she switched subjects. She goes, I guess it's okay. I don't have pain anymore. That's why you're doing this. It's the little things.
It really is the little things, that the daily little things that we get into, because most of our life is run by habit. Like the subconscious mind is 99.9998% of your mind, right? And so if you can keep everything out of the conscious mind and get it into the subconscious, then all those habits are running us. And by doing those little habits, like putting your feet on a pad for 20 minutes, grounding, this is one of those that's, connected to an electrical whatever, and it grounds you, right?
Yeah.
My dad does that for himself too. He's 86, and he gets up in the morning and he looks in the mirror and he goes, so far so good.
I love it.
And he only takes one very minor medication. It's a very low dose of blood pressure medication, and it's only because he had a stroke 3 years ago, but he's fully recovered. Like, both sides still are working quite well. He's just got it. The only vestige of it is he drags his left foot just a tiny bit. But otherwise, he's fully there. His mind is fully there. He's like a happy guy.
Yeah, a lot of people believe that the brain can't heal, and I believe that it can. It comes back to give the body what it needs, and it will take care of itself. I have a great story about my mother. She passed away from pancreatic cancer a couple years ago, but before she did, she had been on thyroid medication, Synthroid, for years. Probably 40 some years. And while she was working this program with me and on the supplements, she didn't tell her doctor what she was doing with me. But after these 40 years, she goes back in, has her blood tested, and the doctor says to her, she goes, I don't think you need to take as much Synthroid anymore. Something's happened with you, some miracle. And you can cut back to half a pill a day, and lower your dosage. And I see that happening all the time. People who want to come off of the medications, go drug free, or, live a life where they're not putting their liver in so much stress from medications. Those people like to work with me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest lesson to do over again you would pass on to someone just starting out, like in your business or even in your life or health?
I had the hardest time understanding the difference between my marketing and who I could help. And I kept going back to, but I can help anyone. We do that, right? And I had to learn to kind of use myself, because I'm, like I said, I'm the best billboard, and design my marketing strategy around my experience and say, this is the type of person that I can help in my marketing. And that helped me reach more people. And by way of helping them, then referrals would happen and other people, hear about it. And I can help anyone who wants to be helped. But that marketing strategy, I suffered for a long time. I would get mad. I'm like, what do you mean market to just one person? I don't understand this. Yeah, that was a hurdle.
Yeah, that for me was trying to figure out, they said, well, who are you helping now? And, I had the soccer mom over here, and I had the makeup artist over there, and I had the 5 or 10 business people over here. And, I had my next door neighbor over there, and I'm going, I really don't know who my avatar is.
They all had something in common, and that's what I had to hone in on, is find out what was that missing link between everybody that I wasn't identifying, and it sounds like you had to go through the same process.
Exactly. It took a long time, but I finally figured out that those people are the ones that are willing to eat health food and are willing to go out and exercise, and they already are doing pretty well. They just want more, right? People,
Yes.
I'm already doing pretty well. I want more. Right. So I think that when you and also when you've lost a lot of time, like you and I have lost being ill for so long, yes. When you lose a lot of time, you want to make up for lost time and not waste a single day for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Well, it's
nonsense.
There's the rock band 27 Club, right? All those rock stars that died at 27. And so many, you hear these stories about people, boys, they emulate, and they're like, oh, we're going to live forever. And they push their bodies to the limit. And then they get to 28 and they're like, oh, shoot, we're not dead. Now what? We've abused our bodies. and the problem isn't that you're going to die young. It's that, oh my God, I lived to this long and I don't feel so good. What do I do? And, that can be a panic moment.
Wow. 28. Wow. Babies.
Exactly.
Oh man. So what's your biggest challenge now?
Biggest challenge now is keeping up with my ideas. I have these grand ideas that I know can help people in getting even more clear, in having a better path towards the fruition of their dream to feel better. And I'm so busy with the day-to-day functions, and that sometimes my ideas are late in getting, into my business. That's the biggest struggle right there. Yeah.
I think we're business twins. So how can people find you?
Easiest way is on my website, and that's theelevateinstitute.com. And I have contact us. There's a little pop-up on the bottom of the screen. It's easy to just text me in a message there.
Yeah, and that'll all be in the show notes. And
okay.
And you have a free gift to offer?
I do. A lot of my clients, they've been suffering with thyroid dysfunction to some degree, and they've been spending their time kind of using medical, whether that's beauty treatments or spa med type services to overcome the effects of thyroid dysfunction. And I offer a free thyroid assessment, and it's based on linking the two. If you do this, then because of that reason, whatever that is, then you score yourself. And anyways, we we talk about the results of it together, and that is available on the website under the free gift menu.
Yeah, and that's a really great thing, because thyroid replacement therapy is the number one prescribed item in the United States. It's beyond heart medication, beyond cholesterol medication. It's number one. So that is a really smart gift to do.
Take advantage of it. Yeah, that's true. There are so many diseases, things that can go on because of thyroid dysfunction. And I kind of equate it to, you can give yourself minerals or you can replace them. And it's kind of like, if your car runs out of gas, would you get behind it and push it? Or would you take it to the gas station and fill it up? And that's the difference between the two, is learning how to fill it up.
Yes, exactly. Because I take a lot of minerals, but I'm still not off all of the thyroid. I still like, so I'm going to have a conversation with you later.
All right.
So thank you for being on the show. I just loved having you here and sharing your wisdom with everybody.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you for listening to Scientific Healing, and for our fascinating guest, Eva Vennari. To connect with her, go to theelevateinstitute.com. Let's you and I connect. Go to scientifichealer.com/energize me to check out my certification program to help you thrive as a healer or coach while building out a 6-figure and bigger practice. When you're ready to learn more, I invite you into a conversation right now. Go to scientifichealer.com/appointment. This is Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Until next time.